Okay, so I'm wearing my shades because I am hungover as hell and it's early. I don't know why I agreed to this podcast this early, but I guess it's my fault since we had to reschedule it in the first place.
Damn.
How you feeling, Mr.Whisky? Are you hearing me okay? Hello? Hello? I like your microphone.
I cannot hear you for some reason. If you can hear me.
I can hear you. And you say you cannot hear me? Is that what you're saying? You saying you cannot hear me?
I cannot
I can hear me
for
on
some
you.
reason.
For real? Because I can hear you and I can hear me on your. It's like a bit of an echo.
I can hear you when I play. Well, yeah, because I can only hear you for some reason if I have you coming out of my laptop directly, which is not what I want.
Yeah, because that would definitely cause a lot of delay.
Can you try saying something?
Yes, saying something.
Yeah, no, I still can't hear you.
These fucking lights. Oh.
I'm gonna leave and come back in.
Yeah, leave and then come on.
Everything's sacred and holy. Would you please shut your yapper?
Yeah, so what I would do is just go ahead and let's go ahead and redo this. Okay?
Don't hold back how you feel. Welcome to the platform for the misunderstood and creatives alike. So roll a joint and pour a shot. You're listening to the Dash It Out podcast, the show that brings your after hours talk to daytime. No wrong opinions and all unfiltered. With your host, Vic Tor.
Okay, so how's it looking? How's everything looking now?
Can I hear you still?
You cannot hear me? Not even through your computer? I mean, okay, this is getting mad fucking weird.
Yeah, because I've recorded on Riverside with other people and it's worked, so I don't know why I won't put the sound through my headphones.
Yeah, which is weird because I just did like 3-4 recordings yesterday and 2 recordings the day before that. And never had any technical issues besides the one time where there was a technical issue, and that was mainly because the whole building was fucked up. So,
and it won't let me check to see if they're working before we start either. Let me see. But do you have an echo on your end?
Well, echo cancellation.
I can hear you then, as long as it's not echoing. I just won't have you through my headphones.
Okay, I mean, as long as you can hear me and it's not echoing, then let's just make it work. Sound like a plan? All right, cool. Let me go ahead and just take these little bad boys off. I like to be able to look my guest directly in the eye. You don't have to reciprocate that. It's cool. You look fucking amazing. So keep your shades on.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Besides everything else, for one, thank you for coming on to the show. I'm just going to go ahead and just briefly introduce you to everybody. So it's another episode of the Dash It Out show. Excuse my demeanor. I'm a little bit hunked the fuck over. I'm tired. So, but anyway, this is the show that brings your after hours talk to daytime. And on this episode, I have an all new co-host, the awesome Mr.Whisky. This amazing, cool gentleman that you see right here. Okay. He's a veteran and founder of Couple O Nukes, a comedy and life advice podcast centered around mental health. He is also the founder of Radiating Faith, a podcast where he hosts a sermon once a week. In addition to podcasting, he is working in voice acting, comedy, is an author, and much more. So, besides what I've already said about you to the audience, is there anything else that you would like the audience to know about you, Mr.Whisky? And once again, thank you again for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here for the relaunching of this new season. It's
Hooray!
Awesome. And I'm sure the listeners are happy to see you looking swag, a little hungover, but that's good. Usually supposed to be drunk during the podcast, but I guess beforehand works too. But no, that's you covered me pretty well. I'm also a dog dad. I guess you could add that. And I have my dog on me right now. If you want to show off to the audience, your choice. But
yeah, show us. Is it a service dog or is it just every day?
She should be. I just haven't done the paperwork.
She's so adorable.
She's tired.
Look at this.
I woke her up so I could podcast. I was like, we gotta get up, we gotta podcast. And she's like, I was like, you go with me everywhere I go. And that's true. I'm very fortunate to live in a dog friendly town. So I've got a stroller for her, I've got a purse for her, a backpack. She's very spoiled. But gentlemen out there, a little advice. If you have a dog or a pet, or if you don't, get one. Here's why. Parents love meeting a man who treats their dog or pet very well and spoils them very much because they see it as a reflection of your qualities as a husband and a father. I tell you, I have attracted many women just by having my dog. And then when they find out I buy her new toys every week or new food or treats every week, they're like, wow, my daughter's a spoiled brat. We got to throw her over to him and start spending his money. So for all you lonely men out there, maybe get a dog or a cat or something. Not a fish. This doesn't apply for all y'all fish lovers out there.
Not fish lovers. Hey, look, I have a rabbit and I have 2 turtles. So I have two rabbits, 2 turtles. So
the turtles are good. Women love turtles,
especially rabbits. And it's even funny when I make them race. Turtle and rabbit race. Can you believe that shit? It's ridiculous. So I just ask you one quick question because you're a cool, nice looking fella, well
appreciate
together,
that.
Really swagged out as well yourself. I just want to ask, what was your inspiration behind the name Mr.Whisky? Because one, I love whiskey. I love whiskey bourbon. It's kind of whiskey bourbon's not loving me right now, on this early morning. But what was your inspiration behind the name Mr.Whisky? I'm kind of curious.
It's funny you say whiskey and bourbon because I'm a member of the Jacksonville Whiskey Bourbon Society, and we're meeting up tomorrow on the beach to, we all bring our own bottle of whiskey or bourbon. Some of the older folks bring hundreds of dollars, bottles that are from different countries and everything. So tomorrow, Sunday morning, I'll be hungover for church, but not the best situation. But yeah. I started my podcast when I was still active duty military. It wasn't as serious as it is now. It's expanded a lot since I got out of the military recently. But I started active duty. It was audio only. And I was like, I should probably, have an anonymous identity. And so Mr.Whisky, I just chose, I don't know where it came from. It's kind of out of the air. As far as the attire, once I decided to go video, I was still anonymous, and it's staying that way until I publish my book about military identity and suicide, which combines my 2 lives, my personal life and Mr.Whisky, and the book is written by both of us. So when I went video, I was still anonymous, so I was like, all right, we'll have the sunglasses, plus they're electronic. That's how I usually listen to my host or guest. It goes right into my ear. I got these a couple of years ago when they first made them. Yeah, they've got a nicer one nowadays. See, when these first came out, they were like $300 and I bought 2 pairs. Now they're like $45, $50 because they're like the oldest pair. They've got new ones these ones are just audio and the new ones you can record videos and do this and that, whatever it is.
Interesting.
Press a button, feed your pet. But
for real, so it's almost like the Amazon Alexa Echo phrase, what's it called, Echo Shades or something like that. It's like, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
What's it called? It's Alexa Echo Shades or Frames. Echo Frames.
I'm not sure. I know they've made Google glasses. They've made like new electronic Ray-Ban. Sony has their own. Boys has their own. Every company is making their own. Some of them are square. Some of them are round. These ones you can even replace with see-through lenses or your prescription glasses. So you could just have electronic glasses, but they'll look like sports goggles.
Pretty dope.
So whenever I'm recording.
Can I just borrow them real
My
quick?
second pair got stolen at a Chili's, believe it or not. Not a sponsor. You know how they're like, hey, welcome to Chili's. They stole my sunglasses. I left them on the table. I went right back inside. I was like, hey, I left a pair of sunglasses. They're like, nope, there's no sunglasses here. They were like $200-$300, and I was very upset. I still love Chili's, 3 for me always, but they do owe me a pair of electronic sunglasses, unfortunately. Yeah, and then I was like, I guess I should wear a hat, and I had the cowboy hat. And for anyone who's gone to my website or checked me out on Instagram, for my listeners or for any of your listeners that want to go check it out, I've got several pairs of boots. I've got belts. One of the things you collect in the military is belts. Kind of like how the country and Western folk love their big cowboy belts. The military loves, each command you go to has their own custom belt. So I have custom belts from the commands I served at. Each division within a ship makes their own belts. There's one I'm seeking after, even though I'm out now. My buddies on their ship, they have the guy who made the nuclear navy wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, snapping all of the nuclear operators out of existence, which is where I was. And so I really want that. Admiral Rickover Thanos belt buckle. I almost got the the mechanics on my ship had it was about 8 inches by like 4 inches, like this giant belt that was just like a plate, like a dinner plate. I almost traded one of my submarine ones for it. It did look. It was just like, we're mechanics. We do everything. We're everything, so.
Yes, so you need something that's versatile, almost like a utility belt in a sense.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they actually had any use for it other than maybe hitting someone on the head. It's like there's this old Geico commercial, not a sponsor, where it's a competition between two cowboys in the Geico commercial, and they just get bigger and bigger belts, and then the last guy has all moving gears on it and everything.
I know that. Yeah, I seen that. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I didn't even know that was even a thing, especially in the military. You wouldn't think that.
The Navy.
The Navy? Yeah, the Navy in the building. Navy in the building.
Yeah, it wasn't really my choice. I was originally going Coast Guard, and then I walked away from that opportunity because I didn't want to go military. With COVID hitting, the world changed a lot, and I grew up in a very controlling household. I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things. I wasn't allowed to leave, and my parents really controlled my life. And so I went to the Air Force, and the day before I shipped out, they tried changing my job on me. They're like, "Oh, we know we were going to send you for photojournalism and mass communications and writing and all that, but we're actually going to teach you another language and have you spend 14 hours a day in an airplane translating other countries' stuff to see if there's terrorism." And I was like, whoa. That is not at all what I signed up for. And I didn't sign quite yet. They almost got me.
But how did that transition? I mean, although, that wasn't exactly what it is you're planning to go in for, like, how was it? Like, should I say, like, looking back now, looking back at that situation now, do you regret anything, or do it feel as though it shaped and molded you to be the person that you are today?
So, I am the founder of my online ministry, Radiating Faith, and so I do have the bliss, so to speak, of everything happens for a reason. And that has been challenged before by someone I met in the world of podcasting who said, "Mr.Whisky, is that true, or are humans just good at justifying everything and making a reason for everything?" And I thought about that for a long time. I was like, you know what? Looking at some of the things that I feel like happened for a reason, they're all connections that I made that could be completely coincidental. However, there are too many major events, too many small numbers in this universe that have aligned to be just coincidence in all of our lives, let alone each individual. So looking back at it, there are certain things I would have changed if I could. I went nuclear operator because I believed I didn't want to go in the military to begin with. When I went over to the Navy, I was going for photojournalism, and they were like, "Nope, it's booked. You can't do that," which is what I loved writing. I had published, I wrote the first 6 books that I published, I wrote when I was 14. So I had been writing since high school, since 8th grade, really. And so I wanted to do that in the military if I could. If I was going to be in the military, let me do something I'm passionate about. Didn't happen that way. So then I was going for underwater welding, big money. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of deep bodies of water that are dark and murky and could have who knows what in them. But that's what my parents had encouraged me to do. Yeah, I do not I swim on the beach all the time. I was raised on the beach, but there's a certain depth at which I don't go past.
Yeah.
There is here's the little humans freebie section called the beach, the shoreline, and then past that is
I want to live
the unknown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You one of the 1% that actually wants to live. So
right. Now sometimes I always make sure if I go out, I'm the second furthest out max. Because I always make sure it's someone I can outswim. So it's always some heavy floater or an older person or a small kid. Let them be the first. Now if there's a whole wave, obviously, exactly.
That's a little fucked up.
I know, but when I used to run cross country back in my freshman year, I was a varsity cross country runner throughout all of high school. But that was the same time where on the news, killer clowns were running through the woods and killing people. They're like, I don't know if it was inspired from the It movie or what was going on in New Jersey where I was, but there was killer clowns on the loose.
Oh my God.
And so when we were doing cross country, we would run through the woods and be like, scared that there were killer clowns. And we would always say, as long as you're faster than the slowest person, that's all that matters, because the clown's going to get them. And
essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with a bear. You don't have to outrun a bear. You just have to outrun the other hikers. So
survival of the fittest, right?
But yeah, but point being, I ended up going nuclear operations side because I was like, I already don't want to do the military. They're saying this is the hardest job, the worst job, the longest job, blah, blah, blah. I said, if I'm going to embrace the suck, I'm going to do it all the way, because they said this has the most benefits outside of military. Looking back, every job in the military has pretty much the same benefits. There are certain jobs, obviously, that are more blue collar or specific to what I did as a nuclear operator. But most places just hear military and your resume is good, whether it said you were a culinary specialist, a CB, a nuclear operator, whatever it was. And there are people who were high-ranked mailmen in the military, higher ranked than me. So they're making more money than me. They're doing dental medical, and they work a fraction of the hours I work. And all they do is sit in the mailroom and organize mail or supervise people to organize mail. And I tried that when I was going into Air Force. After they tried doing the old switcheroo on me to go crypto linguist, I was like, I'm not doing the Air Force. My parents were like, you better do it. I said, okay. I said, but they got other jobs, Mom and Dad. They've got construction, pest control. They've got regular civilian jobs. I mean, everything that we need here in the world, that the military needs. They need pest control. They need maintenance. They need basic stuff. Store owners, mailmen. It's just another city, right? Every military base is just another mini city. My parents said no. They said, if you don't take that highest ranked job, crypto linguist, you're dishonored. You're not part of the family, blah, blah, blah.
Damn.
You're a failure. And I wasn't going out of college. My dad was like, because my parents had never told me about college. I didn't know anything about it. If I knew what college was, and considering I went through the nuclear pipeline of training, the hardest academic program in America, I'm sure I could have excelled at college, especially finding out sometimes you only have 2 classes a week for 2 hours. Like you can custom make your schedule to suit your life.
Exactly.
But I didn't know about that. So then I told my parents, I said, well, could I try? I know some people go to community college first and figure it out. Like, let me go to community college and figure out what college is best for me, since you didn't prepare me at all. And now it's senior year. And my dad said, no, he goes, community college is for minorities and ignorance. You're not allowed there. That is the scum of the earth. And so my family was basically like, you're not allowed to go there. So I didn't go to community college, which I have plenty of great friends, very intelligent people who just used it and then transferred either to save money or figure stuff out.
But that don't make sense,
my dad
though,
grew up.
So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting that he said that. It's pretty interesting that what's overall interesting is I feel like to me that you already had your life set up for you, or there was a preconceived notion about how you were supposed to move in life, And
they wanted me to go Coast Guard.
That's interesting.
My whole life, and they kind of nurtured that into me because what happened is I didn't have options. And it's interesting, I actually know a buddy of mine who came on my show shared that one of the nuclear instructors in the nuclear Navy would control the internet and resources coming in and out of his house, so his kids knew nothing but to be a nuclear operator when they grew up. My parents were dead set on me going to the Coast Guard, and it's awesome. Wow. And I have actually just covered this in my book. My mom had 2 failed marriages, regrets her life. She's about to turn 60. She just got covered in tattoos and piercings. She dresses like an 18-year-old in ways that make me uncomfortable. I don't talk to her, so it doesn't matter. But she shared with me once that she wanted to be a Marine. She had perfect gunmanship scores. She was a killer. She wanted to be Elektra or Wonder Woman. Those were her idols, who she wanted to be. And she gave that all up for 2 marriages of men who deceived her and just used her as a baby factory and pumped kid after kid.
Oh my God, bro.
I think she pushed that onto me because, surprisingly, both of my sisters, my younger sisters, ended up going to the Navy. Never, ever, 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 ever would I have ever expected that of them. But when my dad got removed from the picture, my mom was raising them. They both went military, which was surprising because one of them was 100% a college girl, bookworm, studious, ended up going aviation survival, working with the SEALs occasionally. Like she went full G.I. Jane. She's huge now. She's super muscular. She's like a power lifter. Like she's a dangerous woman. My youngest sister is in boot camp as we speak. Never ever. She just wanted to own a bakery. She was such a quiet, sweet girl, tomboy. And I was going to pay for her to go to college or to open her own bakery. And then boom, next thing I know, she's in the Navy. And as my dad calls it, the armpit of the military.
Damn.
Well, he has a name for it, but I can't repeat it on your show probably.
Yo, fuck you. Of course you can say it. I'm not about to sit there and censor shit. Now,
It's
you
so
want
funny.
to
My
take
dad
things
was
off,
like,
that's for you.
no, it's just so funny. My dad, see, my mom and sister didn't tell him that she was going, so I had to break the news to him, which made me look like a jerk because I've known for over a year. But she went, and my mom still didn't tell him. I said, he has to know where his daughter is. You know, he wanted to know. He was trying to text her and call her, and she's not answering. She's in boot camp. And he was mad. He said, Air Force, Marines, Space Force, Coast Guard, anything but those peer queers. That's where you sent her? Nothing but a bunch of men kissing each other on the docks? And you sent my youngest daughter, my baby, over there? And I was like, and being in the Navy, I added peer queers to I immediately texted every Navy sailor I know and called them that. Because, we've always been joked around. Every branch makes fun of the other branch. And it's all in lightheart.
Yeah.
We make...
Yeah.
Like I'm friends with Marines, Army, Air Force, and every time I see an Air Force person, I say, she Air Force, son, you don't do anything. They always laugh and say, yep, you got me, Air Force, but you're gay. You're in the Navy, so checkmate. So, and there was and actually it recently changed because a man who transgendered to a woman recently won Miss Maryland and is the partner married to a Marine. And so the Navy... people are all posting, checkmate Marines, we've won. You've officially taken the title. So but it's all in good camaraderie. Marines, typically we just make fun of them for dating fat girls, eating crayons, being stupid. But I've met plenty of great Marines. I've served alongside great Marines. So
I love it. I love the fact
I ended up...
It's a whole nother world, and it's very inclusive. Exclusive as well, considering I'm originally from Washington D.C., so I'm used to when I live on Capitol Hill, and there's a Marine baggage that's kind of like right there. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Capitol Hill area in D.C., but that's one of the bases for the United States Marine, the Marine barracks. Okay, to kind of go back and forth there all the time, like I kind of say what's up when I
I was
always a bad. Oh no, y'all can
I was
drink.
stationed right there in Norfolk.
That's not a stereotype. Y'all can drink y'all fucking asses off. Like it's a bar, Lola's. Shout out Lola's, DC, Capitol Hill. All right, y'all go there. Like you can tell a Marine or someone up in the Navy like off the bat just because demeanor, cadence. But y'all do drink, okay? Y'all have like just natural presence. And I know PTSD is typically common in most cases when it comes to certain, certain fields. But y'all presence and cadence, like I could just take over a scene just by talking and laughing. And then once them drinks start flowing, it's just like get the hell out the way because now we on the battlegrounds, you know. But it's definitely fun. Definitely, I know a few myself.
Yeah, I was stationed over in the Norfolk, Virginia area, not too far from Washington, D.C., and we've got 7 bases over there. And it's funny, my buddy called me not too long ago. I think we talked about it on my show. His ship put out, like, you're not to drink more than twice a day, not within the same hour, or if you have more than 9 drinks a week, you're like an alcoholic. And here you have a bunch of Navy sailors like, oh, man, 9 drinks a week. Some of them have 9 drinks a day. Some of them have, wine is for chugging, they say. But what's interesting is I had a guest on my show from the Army, and he was stationed in Fort Bragg. And some of the bars there, the women would just come up to you and say, "What rank are you?" And if you weren't a high enough rank, they wouldn't even talk to you. So when you talk about being recognizable as military, see, I've always been more discreet about it. I'm not flashy about it, but I remember I went out with my two friends, and we were at the Bass Pro Shop, and she was like, "Y'all are military," and I was like, "No, man." But my friend, everywhere we go, he wears all Navy gear, military stuff. He just screams military. He talks about he's got the haircut. Me, I was always like, it's so funny. I was always they would always think I was just a civilian friend tagging along, and my other two buddies were so tactical and military like.
The shade. But why would they get that, impression of you? Like, was you just, kind of quiet? Was you built differently, or was just your demeanor and cadence?
I don't know. They just the nuclear community is its own community, which is why I have a show called Couple O Nukes. I don't have a lot of nukes on the show because they're so busy, but it was inspired by the fact that they are a strange, different breed, and so it's hard. But it's also hard when you're in a military area. They just assume most people are military. Most of the times, if you're in a military area and you look, say again.
No, go ahead. You say if you're in the military and you look.
I was gonna say if you just live in a military area and look or seem like you might be able to be in the military at all, you typically they'll just give you a discount. You don't even have. They don't even read your ID. It depends where you are, but it's very interesting because I've had plenty of places. Because I don't know, I've also had places be like, well, we believe that only military people ask for that discount, so we just give it to them. I'm like, that's all right. I mean, it's your store policy, it's what you do, and I'm getting a discount, so it doesn't matter to me. But there have been I watched a lot of videos of people, actual military members, confronting fraudulent and stolen valor people. I watched a video of a guy went to Goodwill or wherever he goes and buys a fake uniform, and a real military member comes up and interrogates them. And it really breaks my heart to see those, honestly, to see people who would steal valor like that and impersonate rank just to get discounts. It's awful.
But you would think after all the videos that's circulating around social media about certain individuals who's stealing dollars, you definitely would think that would have stopped, Now, there's some people that actually make a joke about it, but then there's others, excuse me, it's like a light at the window here. But then there's others who actually aren't aware. But then you have those who are intentionally doing that for the respect, for the discount. And it's sad. It's actually fucking pathetic if you really think about it, and it's disrespectful to never.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and circle back around just a little bit. I know you made mention of your podcast, Couple of Nukes, okay? From a podcaster to a podcaster. What can I expect, or what can my listeners expect when they listen to your show? I mean, you already pretty much summed it up, but can you break down the premise of Couple of Nukes? Or Couple O Nukes?
Yeah, so what I'm struggling with right now is a lot of people are getting turned away thinking it's military only content, and either that's just not for them or would be, but it's a mental health podcast for everyone. Sometimes we'll have an episode that gets into more specific military stuff for a few minutes, but it's never just pure military. Sure, some of the episodes where I sit down with other veterans or active duty military members, we talk about some issues that are military based, but suicide, anxiety, depression, PTSD, it's all stuff that happens civilian side too. PTSD is a complex condition that can be non-combat related. It can be domestic. There's standard, there's complex. It's a whole thing. It's just a traumatic event. And sometimes traumatic events are subtle, mental attacks from parents over the years, or from friends, or whatever it may be, from a toxic relationship. The financial advice, the dating advice. Yeah, I bring them on because military members struggle with finances and relationships a lot, unfortunately. But it's for everyone. Any person can come to my show and listen about this dating advice. Sure, we might get a little specific with traveling and military life, but people travel and move jobs in the real world too, as I call it. Yeah, and even the military episodes, people say, oh, it's just military content, I don't want to listen to that. We're not talking about going out and killing people. A lot of times it's drunken pork calls. It's funny stories about Thailand and the Philippines. It's a good show. It's supposed to be comedy and life advice, and I try to balance it. Some episodes get really dark. I had a veteran come on who took his life twice, and the VA brought him back, pumped all the drugs and poison out of him, and now he works for them as the guy who answers the phone for other suicidal veterans. Like, he's paying back. And that episode is also one of the funniest episodes. It starts off with he went to Africa, and when he went to a port call, they had beers for 50 American cents that were this tall and 13% each. You know, like, it's one of my funniest episodes, but it's also one of my darkest episodes. I make sure every episode is a mixture of humor and advice.
And then the thing is, at the same time, it's now you already have your premise, your base, which is pretty much, you know, you've been military. That is like pretty much your base, but everything else in which you were speaking of, you know, the various topics, you know, the various conversations, they can correlate to day-to-day lives, day-to-day individuals. So honestly, I feel as though you should just keep doing what you're doing. You know, you already found your niche, you stay in it.
Yeah.
At least you, and then of course, if you want to expand and grow, by all means, do so. But in a sense, I really feel as though you're pretty cool, you're pretty chill, you know, you're pretty like put together, you know, and it's nice, it's good. It's better than my messy ass podcast. My podcast messy as fuck. Like, I had a guest on yesterday. I had a guest on yesterday, Mr. Richard Blank, okay? And he was just like, it's like no structure. I'm like, there's never any structure. Like, I literally started just doing at the time when I didn't have no structure at all. I was on the precipice of a mental breakdown, and I started a podcast. Who the fuck does that?
That's badass.
So it was like, it never was any type of structure. And I was like, you know what? Man, let's swing this shit, you know? And it wasn't even, you know, just because I just wanted to do it. It was something, you know, to be able to talk to individuals, to be able to connect, and also, you know, to lighten the mood about, and also, and maybe inadvertently inform about certain situations or certain events or certain lifestyles or certain hobbies, career, you know? And it was pretty cool. And so. And it kind of stuck with, you know, I'm still trying to figure out the structure, but everybody just like, nah, you good. You know, hey, look, everything needs a little tweaking, but at the same time, what they say, if it's not broke, then don't fix it.
Yeah. Well, I'll say two things.
Let's go ahead and move along. Okay.
I was gonna say two things. One thing, you got the whole look right. I mean, I'm loving it. You got the colored lights, you got the wall, the swag. Like, I know your previous seasons weren't video. So now this is a big upgrade. You got it, man. And the listeners didn't see it, but you had some shades on before that were perfect. I mean, you got the whole look. So that's part one, the branding. But
I should thought he was on now because I'm hungover and these lights are killing me.
Quick.
But for the sake of the professional aspect, I'm just going to take these little bad bitches off. Love these. Love these.
I don't know if I'm going to take mine off ever, even after my two identities are combined, because so many people are just used to Mr.Whisky with the sunglasses. You know, that's how they identify me. So we'll see. But usually it's the hat and the boots that get people. So yeah, I might get some different. I might get some different lenses though. I might try some different things. We'll see. But what I was going to say is some encouraging news for you and for anyone trying to start a podcast or working on creative endeavors. You know, I speak at podcast conferences, I attend conferences, I host stuff, and a number I want to put out, which I find encouraging. Some of y'all might find it not encouraging, but here's the thing. Only 7% of podcasters make it to 100th episode, to 100 episodes. Only 7% of everyone. There are millions of podcasts out there. But pod fade is huge. Pod fade is when podcasters stop releasing episodes. And typically it's a group of young men who get drunk and like, we should start a podcast. And then they just try it and it's hard. Or, you know, it's women or men, whoever is trying to do it. And if you're consistent, and it could be a messy consistent, but as long as you are continuing to pursue your creative endeavor, even if it's just an episode every few weeks or every few months, you're better than so many people. And if you make it to 100 episodes, you made it where 93% of people couldn't. And every episode after that 7% shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. Everyone compares themselves to, you know, like Joe Rogan or Jordan Peterson, all these people who have these huge podcasts or famous shows or going around speaking everywhere, if you look at, if only 7% make it to 100 episodes, and most don't monetize or have as big of a presence, those people that you're listening to, your favorite podcasts, are like 1% of 7%. So even for you hosting me, even if the structure is a little lacking, and that's your personal opinion, I think the show's great.
Aww.
You've made it further than most people already just by getting to a season 3. And to come back after such a long gap, it's been about 2 years or a year and a half.
Pretty much.
I mean,
some change.
Yeah, I mean, most people would have expected you to never come back. You coming back is already put you. Yeah, it's already put you so far ahead of everyone else, man. So I
appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. That was a real deep, heartfelt sentiment. And damn, I'm about to tear up. Shit, nah. But no, man, I appreciate it, bro. That was real talk. And you got to keep it pushing, And like it's been like 18 months to 19 months since the hiatus of the show. And I had people contact me and previous guests that came onto the show, like, hey, what's going on? I have something I want to talk about. I noticed that you haven't been recording in quite some time. Is everything's okay? Like, yeah, it took a brief hiatus. Moved from DC, came to New York, started a new career, and a lot of things just been crazy on and on. Lost my little sister to suicide, which has been hurting because we're still dealing with that. I just kind of just going through life, and I miss my Dash fam, So it's like, of course, I was gonna be gone for too long, but I feel as though I've definitely been gone enough to know, okay, let's go ahead and get this ball rolling. If we do it, we're gonna do it right. And now we're here, Dash It Out, season 3, kicking it with the cool Mr.Whisky, turning it up, throwing it down. Yeah, so I'm like, I'm ready, I'm pumped, I'm about. Damn, I'm before hungover. Maybe it's this ginger beer I'm drinking. Shots.
Ginger beer. Is that your hangover remedy?
Beer. Of course, yes. It's usually that or coffee. It's usually something spicy, like a buffalo chicken or something. But in this case, I'm not really in the mood for no coffee. Like, I'm not in the mood for that. This shit's gonna give me like fucked up anxiety and whatnot. So ginger beer is typically the best healthy alternative that I will go to kind of get me up and going and kick that hangover smooth in the ass. And if I really want to go out, I'll mix that ginger beer with some coconut water and down that shit. And hey, to each their own, but that's me.
Yeah, I thought maybe you were gonna bring whiskey or ask me to bring whiskey. I was expecting that because I had listened to a previous episode from your other season, and you're like, here's some wine, and there was the glasses clinking. It was some episode where y'all brought wine, so I was like, maybe he's gonna bring whiskey.
The thing is, I'm kind of like one of those individuals who just don't like to drink. Like early drinking. I don't early drink, But no.
Yeah, it is 9 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen. It is 9 a.m. in case you were wondering.
In the morning. But hey, look, if you ever want to
come on the show a little later.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I mean, I'm off today. I don't really have nothing planned besides the podcast. And probably like some interviews lined up around 4 or 5. Other than that, I'm just like kind of like vibing and chilling, I definitely could just pour me a nice little cup. I like my Bullet, and I like my Woodford Reserve, Maker's Mark, most importantly. And that's definitely the smoothest shit. And some things, people, you do not need to put on fucking ice. You need to leave it neat. You don't need to put it on the rocks. Let it go. Okay? That's not happening. I hate when I have guests come over to my house and just like, do you have the ice? Now you better drink that shit clean. No ice. You ain't fucking.
I know. People are like, I was gonna say, I'm the same way, but not with ice. Well, I drink everything warm, but they'll be like, you don't have any sodas or anything to mix the alcohol with. I was like, mix it. What are you talking about? I just drink it straight. My friend.
What did that mean?
My friend texted me the other day. He's like, I need a good mixed drink for my wife. She wants something sweet and like can't taste the alcohol. I was like, brother, what are you talking about? You don't need to mix anything. No, I was like, but if you just put a whole bunch of bourbon or Hennessy or whiskey or vodka in the soda or sweet tea, I'm sure that'll do the trick for her. I said, you just got to get I make fun of my buddy. He has these little like Pedialyte powder packets that he puts in all his drinks to mask them. And I made fun of him, but it did help with some bad tequila at a Bible study we went to. He's part of a Bible study group where it's more like they read 5 lines and then they just drink and party the whole time. So it wasn't my kind of Bible study.
Right.
I know. I enjoyed it because I am a social person, and I have my own ministry and I host my own sermons. So I'm like, I've got plenty of the word of the Lord, so I can socialize. But if I was going there just for the word, not good. They've got Ana de Armas on the screen in a small dress, and they're drinking, taking shots. I'm like, interesting Bible study, appreciating what God gave us.
No, seriously.
Yeah, it's.
So, quick question: are you?
Like the buddy never been asked that on a podcast before.
I would like to play a game.
I am so
it's like
scared.
I would like to play a game. Okay. You know, play the game on the podcast. It's just a little basic. Yeah, I know. So it's pretty fucking cool, honestly.
I've played games that I picked and hosted on my podcast. I've never played another host game unplanned.
Well, welcome, because we're about to play a game here on the Dash It Out show. And what it is called, it's called the Dash Dash. Now, typically, the Dash Dash is just a hypothetical scenario in which you will fill in the blank. So I will ask certain hypothetical questions and you will fill in the blank. And now there's no exact way to answer it, okay? So you cannot... You cannot fuck this up, okay? It's pretty chill. Okay, so the first question I'm going to ask you, okay? In fact, I can just to help you out, we're going, okay? So I started with blank, then finished with blank. So I would say I started with a shot, then finished with the bottle. Make sense?
Okay. So I started with kissing and I finished with paying child support.
I love it. Okay, see, that takes the cake. All right. Love it.
Okay.
Love it. Okay, let's get a little high.
I'm doing good. I'm qualified to play.
Yes. Okay, the next one. I'm not the best, but I can be better than blank.
I'm not the best at podcasting, but I can be better than the Dash It Out show.
What the fuck?
I love it.
I had to make that jab while I was there.
I love it. Nice job.
Prepare to die.
This is difficult because I'm a pastor now, so I can't say most of the things I would normally say.
I think that would do. Like, it's definitely. Where can my listeners find your work? Although everything will be listed in the description below. Where can my listeners find your work to know a little bit more about you? Because you're definitely interesting and intriguing. And I would love to chat it up some more. But it's about that time on the Dash It Out show. So where can my listeners find your work to listen to?
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll find you on my show as well to chat it up some more. My show is longer form. We go anywhere between 20-30 minutes to most episodes are an hour to an hour and a half. Because a lot of these serious conversations, we get into it. But there are plenty of short episodes too for whoever wants those shorter episodes. I have such a wide variety, but biggest place is Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, and 16 other directories, pretty much anywhere you get your podcast. And on YouTube, I only started video content a few months ago, even less than that. So YouTube is it's great if you want the video part of it and to see, Mr.Whisky. But otherwise, the podcast is available almost anywhere you get your podcasts. I sent the link over from my website, so y'all check that out. If you just look up Couple O Nukes, the website will be one of the first things that pops up. Couple O apostrophe Nukes, because we're Couple O Nukes because I'm Southern now. But yeah, my website is a great resource. It has everything about me. every show I've been in, every conference I've been to. It has every guest who's ever been on my show, all the links to all their information, all their pictures, every episode categorized based off what you're interested in. So if it's relationship, faith, Army, Marines, Navy, life advice, it's all categorized with my most popular episodes highlighted in a different color for you to find what might be best for you. And I've got all my contact information on there as well. Couple of Nukes OF@gmail.com. That's the best way to reach out to me. Or now you can text me through the new podcasting text feature on Buzzsprout. But I highly encourage everyone to email me, coupleofnukes@gmail.com, or find me on Instagram, Couple of Nukes. That way you can get that back and forth. Unfortunately, the anonymous text is one way. So.
Okay, well, all that information is going to be definitely linked in the description, either down here or over there, wherever it's going to be, because social media is always changing, but they put the damn description box. So, with that being said, Thank you so much, Mr. Whisky, for being a guest here on the Dash It Out show. And, brother, I'm looking forward to chatting and chilling with you on your show as well. Good talk. All right, but that's it for now. It's been a pleasure. Stay blessed. All right, stay up, stay cool. Deuces, we up out of here. I'm gonna go take my hungover ass back to sleep. You got me up early, okay? But it was worth it.
Thank you.